want social justice, a higher minimum wage. I absolutely agree with you, sir. But the question is, how are you going to make people understand that?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the powerful things about this moment is, it's both about us being able to share our values and show people that, when in our administration, we are going to make Maryland a safe haven for abortion access and live up to the idea that abortion is health care. In our administration, we are going to get to a $15 minimum wage and also make sure that it's pegged towards inflation because, I worked with families for much of my career when I led one of the largest nonprofits in this country, poverty fighting nonprofits. And we still had so many people who were working and still living below the poverty line. We've got to accelerate that minimum wage. But also I know that for my Republican opponent, for all those things that I talked about, that he doesn't believe in. That he believes that Maryland should be a right-to-work state. That he believes that the past election that Donald Trump is still the president, and so it's going to be a very clear choice for the people of Maryland to decide which direction that they want to go into.
Let's talk about your opponent, because you are up against what I would call an arch conservative, Dan Cox. He has been endorsed by Donald Trump, and he didn't have the support of the current Republican governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan. Larry Hogan even called him a QAnon whack job. And Dan Cox was also at Donald Trump's rally at the Ellipse on January 6th. I want to play for you what he told WRC reporter Tracy Wilkins when she asked him about being labeled an extremist. Listen to this.
We're going to make sure that the policies that President Trump has advanced are the policies we bring to Maryland, because the Biden policies are hurting us. It's actually worse than hurting us. The Biden policies are creating a disaster in Maryland. I think everyone in Maryland is tired of labels. Everybody's extreme this, extreme that. The focus of my candidacy is to say we have an extreme crisis happening right now. We have a crisis at the pump. We have a crisis in our schools. And we have a crisis of blood running in our streets. If you come at me with labels and names, I'm coming back at you with the problems that's happening in your neighborhoods, and we're going to fix it.
Look, I think the label is important. This man is an election denier. We should not gloss over that. But the reality is that crime and inflation are issues that you are going to have to address in this race, and if you are elected governor. So what is your plan?
Yeah. And actually, I'm excited to be able to have that debate with my Republican opponent, because the reality is when we're talking about all of those individual issues, that we actually have a plan on how to combat those things versus he does not. So when we're talking about things like having a 21st century education system, that includes things like making sure we're investing in early childhood supports, ensuring that we can have free pre-K for every child in need in the state of Maryland, making sure that we have an education system that's training our students how not just to be employees, but how to be employers, knowing that we're going to have a service year option for every single high school graduate. For public safety, it means we're going to work to get the illegal guns off of our streets and work with our federal partners in order to do so. And also making sure we're fixing broken parole and probation systems, because much of the violent offenders are in violation of parole and probation. We have hard, concrete policy proposals that we want to put in place versus my Republican opponent, someone who's spreading lies about the 2020 election and tracking conspiracy theories. I believe deeply that come November, the people of Maryland will see that the concrete proposals that we are going to put together and activate are things that they're going to want to see from their next government.
We will be watching, sir. Before I let you go, do you expect to get current governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan's endorsement? He is not a fan of your Republican opponent.
No, he's definitely not a fan. In fact, he said that he wouldn't even give him a tour of the governor's office, let alone support him to be the next governor. We're going to have a Big Ten. And I think it's one of the reasons that we've been so successful both in the primary and why we will be successful in November is because when I was an officer in the military, I always and I led soldiers in combat. I always say, a question I never once asked my soldiers: what's your political party? It didn't matter. We had one goal, one job, one mission, and we plan on building a big tent and being able to bring everybody on board for us to accomplish the goal, which is making sure that our state is going to win this next decade.
All right, Wes Moore, Democratic candidate for governor in Maryland. Thank you for your time, sir.
It's great to see you. Thank you.
Next, why you don't want to mess with the wrong people in politics, and specifically, I'm talking about moms. I am very serious because they have a lot of political capital, so listen up to what the three ladies joining me have to say about key issues right after this break. Stay with us.